I paid for their wedding, covered their rent, and babysat every weekend. The first time I asked for help after my surgery, my daughter said, "We have our own lives now. Don't be selfish." Her husband told me, "Start acting like a grown man." I sat in pain for days, until I found a way to. I'm a 63-year-old man living in Evansville, Indiana. I lost my wife when our daughter Lily was 6. It was just the two of us after that. I raised her alone, worked 6 days a week as a plumber, and gave her everything I had. I never missed a single parent night. I cooked, cleaned, helped with homework, and did her hair before school even though I was terrible at it. I didn't go out much. I didn't date. I just worked and made sure she had a good life. I was proud of that. When she got into college, I told her she wouldn't owe a cent. I paid her tuition, her rent, her books, everything. I took on extra plumbing jobs and even cleaned out septic tanks just to keep up. She never had to work during school. I told her, "Your only job is to do well and be happy." After college, she met Derek. I could tell right away that he was a talker. Too smooth. Always had an answer for everything. Big smile, firm handshake. Always saying things like, networking and leveling up. But Lily loved him, so I told myself to stay quiet. They got married a year later. His parents didn't help with the wedding at all. They showed up, smiled for pictures, and then left early to beat traffic. I paid for the entire thing. Venue, food, dress, flowers, everything. $38,000. I remortgaged my house to help cover it. I didn't think twice. I figured they'd remember that forever. I thought I was doing what a good dad should. After the wedding, they couldn't make rent. Derek said his sales job wasn't steady yet. Lily had a part-time teaching job. So I paid their rent for a year, $1,200 a month. I also gave them my old Toyota Camry when Derek's car broke down. That was the same car my wife and I drove Lily to her first day of school in. But I let it go. Then they had their daughter, Emma, my first and only grandchild. She was born a few months before the pandemic. I stepped up to help like always. Every weekend, I'd drive over, watch her from Friday night to Sunday night. They dropped her off like clockwork. Never once asked if I had plans. I didn't care. I loved Emma. But I started noticing things. They'd never say thanks. They'd leave dirty diapers in her bag. Sometimes they'd forget to bring formula and I had to run out to buy it myself. Still, I told myself, it's family. You do what you can. Then 2 months ago, I had shoulder surgery. Years of physical labor caught up to me. The doctor told me I wouldn't be able to move my arm properly for a few weeks. No lifting. No driving. I'd need help with meals, shopping, rides to follow-up appointments. So I called Lily. It was hard for me to ask. I've never been the type to ask for anything. "Hey sweetie, I was hoping you could come by this week. Just to help with a few things. I'm really hurting after the surgery." She paused, then said, "We have our own lives now, Dad. You've always been strong. Don't be selfish." That word, selfish, it felt like a slap. I asked her again, "Lily, I haven't asked you for anything. I've been there for you every step. I just need some help for a few days." Then Derek got on the phone. "You're a grown man. Start acting like one." And they hung up. I sat there in that living room, in my recliner, unable to move my arm, shaking from pain and disbelief. I had some crackers on the table. That's what I ate for 2 days. Couldn't cook. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't even put on a shirt without crying out. And the phone never rang again. Nobody checked on me. Nobody cared. And that's when I started to really think. I started going over everything in my head, every dollar I gave, every weekend I spent babysitting, every time I stepped in to make their lives easier. I gave everything. And when I asked for the tiniest bit in return, they turned their backs on me. So I decided right then, I was done. Done being the guy they could rely on. Done being the backup plan. But I wasn't just going to walk away. I wanted them to feel it. I wasn't going to yell or make a scene. I was going to hit them where it would hurt the most. And I knew exactly how to do it. The first thing I did was stop answering their calls. It took them a few weeks to notice. At first, they didn't call at all. No texts. No, how's your shoulder? No, are you okay? But once Friday came and they were expecting their free babysitter, Lily finally called. I let it ring. Then she texted, "Hey, are you good for Emma this weekend?" I stared at it. My shoulder still ached. I still couldn't lift much. I had bruises under my arm from trying to wash dishes. I didn't answer. Then another text, "Dad, we have plans. You can't ignore us." That made me laugh. Not a real laugh, just one of those bitter ones. Ignore us. Like I hadn't been ignored after surgery. Like they hadn't hung up on me when I was in pain. Derek called a few minutes later. Straight to voicemail. Then Lily again. "Are you mad? What's going on?" I waited an hour. Then I replied, "I'm acting like a grown man. Just like you said." They didn't answer after that. Friday night passed. Saturday. Sunday. No one came by. I knew they'd scramble for a sitter or maybe cancel their plans. I didn't care. By Monday, Lily called again. Her voice was tense. "Dad, we can't keep doing this. You're being childish. You can't just cut us off." I finally picked up. "Funny. That's exactly what you did after my surgery. I sat here in pain for 3 days. Not a single word from you. Now you're worried about your weekends?" She didn't know what to say. "You raised me to be independent," she mumbled. "I raised you to be human," I said. "You missed that part." Then I hung up. That was just the start. I called my bank and removed Lily from my accounts. Years ago, I had added her as a cosigner just in case. That was a mistake. She never touched the money, but I didn't want to take the risk now. Then I called my lawyer. I had an old will from when Lily was little. Everything went to her. House, savings, life insurance. I told the lawyer to rewrite it. Everything now goes into a trust. If I die, it all gets donated to a local children's home. Lily gets nothing. Next, I stopped paying their car insurance. I'd been covering it for 2 years. They never asked, I just did it. My credit card got charged monthly. I canceled it. Same for the Netflix account they were using. The Costco membership. The cell phone plan. Gone. Within a week, I got texts. "Dad, our insurance lapsed." "Why did you cancel?" I didn't answer. "Did you shut off the phones?" "We're in a contract." No reply. They started calling more. Sometimes Derek. Sometimes Lily. Sometimes both. But I didn't pick up. Then Derek showed up at my house. He stood on my porch like he owned the place. "This is ridiculous, Frank," he said. "You can't just cut your family off because your feelings got hurt." I opened the door just enough to look him in the eye. "You left me in pain. You both knew I couldn't take care of myself. You called me selfish for asking for help. You told me to act like a grown man. So I am. I'm making grown man decisions." He scoffed. "You're ruining our lives over one misunderstanding." "No," I said. "I'm ending a one-sided relationship. I gave everything. You gave nothing." He tried to argue more. I shut the door in his face. After that, they stopped calling for a while. Then Lily emailed me. A long message. Said she was sorry. Said things got overwhelming. Said Derek was under stress and they didn't mean what they said. Said she missed me. Asked if we could talk. I didn't respond. I waited. Weeks passed. Then I saw a post on Facebook. Lily asking for recommendations for affordable babysitters. Another post asking about used cars. Another one asking if anyone had an extra crib. They were struggling. And not just with money. One of my friends at the plumbing company told me Derek had lost his job. Something about a bad sales quarter. No backup plan. No savings. And I wasn't there to bail them out. They thought I would be. They thought I always would. But something in me had changed. And I wasn't done yet. 3 weeks after Derek showed up at my door, I got a knock on the same spot early Saturday morning. It was Lily this time. She looked tired, pale, hair pulled back in a way that reminded me of how she used to look during finals week in college. Stressed and sleep-deprived. She had Emma on her hip. The kid looked confused. "Dad," she said. Her voice cracked. I didn't say anything. I just waited. I didn't come here to argue. I need help, she said, eyes welling up. I let her stand there. Silence stretched. Then I stepped aside, let her in. Not because I forgave her. I just didn't want Emma standing out there in the cold. She sat down on the couch and started talking, fast and nervous. Derek had been fired 3 weeks ago. Apparently, he got caught manipulating some numbers on sales reports. Nothing illegal, but shady enough that they didn't give him a reference. She didn't even know at first. He'd been pretending to go to work. They were behind on rent. Credit cards were maxed. They sold the Camry I gave them 6 months ago to make a payment on Derek's new lease, which had now been repossessed. I listened, said nothing, We're going to lose our apartment, she said. I don't know what to do. I messed up. I know I did, but I need you. Just for a little while. Please. And then, just like that, Derek walked in behind her. He let himself into my house without knocking. Hey, Frank, he said, trying to smile. Glad you're feeling better. I stood up. You're not welcome here, I said to him. He raised his eyebrows. Come on. This is a family problem. No, I said. This is your problem. You made your choices. Now live with them. Lily looked between us. Please. Just until we get back on our feet. Alone. Or even if you could just let us stay for a few days. That's when it clicked. They hadn't come to apologize. They had come to move in. No, I said. You can't stay here. Not for a night. Not even an hour. Lily stood up. Dad, we're your family. I nodded slowly. And I was yours. Until I needed help and you told me to grow up. Derek tried again. You're being dramatic. I laughed. No. I'm being clear. Then I pointed to the door. You need to leave. He got mad. You're turning your back on your daughter? On your granddaughter? I looked at Emma. Poor kid. None of this was her fault. But I'd done my part. I had raised my child. Babysat. Paid. Sacrificed. And when I needed the smallest amount of care, they turned their backs. I walked over to the drawer next to the front door and pulled out an envelope. It had a check inside $500. I handed it to Lily. This is the last thing you'll ever get from me, I said. Use it wisely. She didn't take it at first. Just stared. Then quietly she said, You're really going to do this? I nodded. I already did. They left. I closed the door and stood there, breathing heavy, shaking a little, not from anger, but from the weight of it all. But I still wasn't finished. The next day, I made one more call to CPS. Not out of spite, but because I knew the signs. Emma wasn't dressed right for the weather. Her cheeks had that dry, chapped look. Lily and Derek were crashing with friends, couch to couch. No job. No plan. No money. That wasn't safe for a child. I gave my name. Told them everything I knew. I didn't embellish. I just told the truth. Emma deserved better. They didn't know it yet, but their lives were about to change again. And this time, they wouldn't have me to lean on. The CPS visit happened 3 days later. I didn't hear about it from Lily or Derek. I heard from a friend who works in child services. She didn't break any rules. Just said, Hey, I think your family might be on our radar now. I knew what that meant. I waited. A week later, I got another knock. This time it was Lily. She was crying, red-faced, holding Emma's little coat in her hands. They're investigating us, she said. They came to the house we're staying at. Said someone reported us. You did this, didn't you? I didn't answer. We're not bad parents, she went on. We're just going through a hard time. I said, That's what I was going through when you told me to grow up. Her voice cracked. Dad, they might take her. Please tell them you made a mistake. I sat down, calm. No mistake. I did what I thought was right. You're not stable. No job. No home. You ignored your own father when he was helpless. I don't trust you to care for her when you couldn't care for me. She broke down in front of me, begging, on her knees. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel the need to fix things for her. I just sat there and watched her fall apart the same way I had. The next day, I got a call from CPS. They asked if I'd be willing to take temporary guardianship of Emma while the investigation played out. I said yes. They brought her to me the following morning with a bag of clothes and a stuffed bear. Emma didn't cry. She just walked in and asked, Where's Grandpa's chair? I pointed. She climbed up and fell asleep in it within minutes. I enrolled her in daycare the next day. I started making her lunch every morning. I took her to the park on Sundays. Felt like having a second chance, but not to raise Lily again. To raise someone better. Meanwhile, Derek and Lily were falling apart. Derek tried to sue me for parental alienation and defamation. He failed. His record at his old job got brought into the case and things got worse for him. He couldn't find work. Word spread about his fudged numbers. No one in Evansville wanted him in sales. Lily got a part-time job at a diner. Nights, tips only. She called me again one evening, crying, saying she wanted to see Emma. I said she could. At my house. With the court supervisor present. That stung. But it was the right move. They both tried to clean up. Went to parenting classes. Got jobs, sort of. Lived with a cousin in a small apartment. But CPS wasn't rushing. They'd seen the reports. They saw the history. It would take a lot to get custody back. A year passed. Emma started calling me Dadpa, a mix of dad and grandpa. I never corrected her. She was safe. Federal happy. She smiled a lot more than she used to. Then one day I got a certified letter in the mail. It was from Lily's lawyer. They wanted to fight for full custody back. So I went to court. I brought every receipt, every text, every email. I brought the bank records showing I paid their rent, the wedding, the car, the babysitting. I told the judge about the shoulder surgery, the neglect, the insults, the way they walked away when I needed them. The judge listened, read everything, then looked at Lily and Derek. She said, "I don't see two people fighting to get their daughter back. I see two people who burned every bridge they had, and now expect the world to forgive them without earning it." Then she looked at me. "Mr. Matthews," she said, "would you be willing to adopt your granddaughter?" Lily started sobbing. Derek punched the table and had to be removed from the courtroom. I said yes. It was official 6 months later. Emma became my legal daughter. Lily spiraled. She stopped calling, stopped writing. Derek left her, packed his stuff and moved to Chicago, chasing some new business opportunity that didn't exist. Last I heard, Lily was working at a gas station off the highway, alone, no car, no family. And me? I wake up every day and make pancakes for Emma. She likes hers with strawberries. Sometimes she asks about her first parents. I tell her they loved her, but they got lost, and that maybe one day they'll find their way again. But I don't wait for that day, because I've already given her the one thing they couldn't, a home where love means showing up when it matters. And I've learned this: revenge doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes the quiet kind hurts more, especially when it looks a lot like peace.